Today, we are going to talk about ethical hacking. And please just let me know if you can hear me. Let's see, I'm going to review with the...
Just let me know.
Yeah, you can hear me. Good. Well, perfect. We're going to use some slides. Perfect, thank you, Soy. We're going to use some slides from the CEH training. We are going to borrow some of them and because they are useful in the definitions part, in the concepts part, they are very, very practical. So we are going to use them today. Perfect. Let's start talking about some essential terminology about hacking, because we need to understand a lot of different things before you can start doing things. It's better to understand, it's better that you have a good foundation before to start working with a specific distro or a specific tool, etc. So, there are some parameters that normally ethical hackers use and malicious hackers use in hacking, like hack value. That means how valuable it's a resource or is an information for somebody, and you can then understand how much effort can a person put to try to steal that information. That's hack value, how much worth. Vulnerability talks about a weakness, a weakness or a problem by design, by configuration, by implementation in a specific system. We can talk about website vulnerabilities or mail server vulnerabilities or VPN vulnerabilities or network vulnerabilities, etc. So normally a vulnerability allows a malicious actor to grab control or execute malicious scripts or damage in any way the infrastructure or the information inside the server. Payload, well, exploit normally it's a tool that is used by a malicious actor to grab control, to execute a specific command, to copy a specific file from the target machine to the attacker's machine, etc. Normally, exploit, it's a code or is a small piece of code that is executed by the malicious actor to open the door in the vulnerable system, in the target system. The difference with payload is that the payload is what the malicious actors wants to execute once the exploit succeeds. To have a simple analogy, we can have an apartment, and the exploit can be open door. That's the exploit, and the payload, it's what the thief wants to steal from the apartment, the TV, the stereo, etc. So normally exploits are used in conjunction with payloads to achieve a specific goal. We are going to see today how to use an exploit, how to use a payload, and we are going to hack inside a specific machine, and we are going to understand better these concepts. Zero-day attacks are attacks that we never saw before, totally new, and in that way we do not have countermeasures against that attacks or against those attacks. So that's zero-day. We don't have preventive mechanisms, we don't have countermeasures because we never met or never knew before about that kind of attacks. It happens a lot because normally an operating system or a specific application can have vulnerabilities and we don't know them. But in some moments, some researcher or even a malicious actor discovers that vulnerability and starts exploding that vulnerability on the wild. So that's a zero-day attack. Normally, the providers, the vendor, starts making patch or updates to fix that kind of vulnerabilities, these zero-day vulnerabilities. Normally, all the vulnerabilities that we know in some moment were zero-day attacks or starts as zero-day vulnerabilities. Daisy chaining, it's a different thing. Normally, let's say that a malicious actor found a username and a password in an email, let's say. And this person tries the same username and the same password in different systems in an entire infrastructure. That's daisy chaining. Doxing. Doxing is a reference about look for documentation, look for information from a specific target. So that is doxing, but doxing is the hacker term to talk about research, investigation, or OSINT in some cases. OSINT means open source intelligence. Bot is a specific software that can be used to control in a remote way a specific target. Normally, the bot is the agent installed in the vulnerable machine, and the malicious actors takes control of that bot and order to the victim machine to visit a website or send a message or do anything that the malicious actors wants. So that's a bot. Good. So please, if you have any questions, you have the chat, so let me know if you need me to clarify something. Well, I'm going to move the camera a little bit. Good. So there are some elements of information security. Normally, in this information security, it's like a goal we have, but normally it's more like a path that you travel across. There is no perfect solution to have information security in a specific environment. Normally, you need to do a lot of different things, implement different technologies, policies, train your people to achieve a specific level of security or of maturity in security. But there are some elements that we need to have in mind, like the confidentiality of the information. That means that only the people with the proper authorization should have access to the information. Integrity means that the information should be perfect in all the time and you can trust about that information. Availability means that normally if you have the proper authorization to access the information, you should be able to access that information 24/7, 365 days a year. So in any moment you want to access that information should be available for you. Authenticity refers to specific characteristics related with communication, storage, etc., related with the quality of the information. Non-repudiation is a little different. Non-repudiation is related with that nobody can deny a specific action. Let's say that somebody sent an email making a threat or saying something nefarious, etc. And then this person, when it's confronted, says, no, I never sent that email. Non-repudiation technologies allows to demonstrate that this person really sends that email, that this person really execute the specific action. That's non-repudiation. So there are some vectors. In cybersecurity, we talk about vectors when we want to define or specify ways that the malicious actors or the attackers have to execute actions. Like an email. An email, it's a vector. A vulnerability in a website, it's a vector. A phone call is a vector. So normally vectors are mechanisms used by the malicious actors to attack a specific infrastructure. Well, we have right now a lot of different vectors. A lot of companies use clouds to store information and to provide services and to receive services as well. So cloud computing, it's a very interesting field for a lot of malicious actors to execute attacks, and of course is a vector. The advanced persistent threats. That kind of threats are, like the name, advanced and persistence. What that mean? Persistent. What that means? That normally the normal mechanisms, the normal security mechanisms or detection mechanisms sometimes do not detect that kind of threats. And persistent means that this kind of attacks, once executed, normally tries to remain attacking the target or making the target weak. So that's an advanced and persistent threat. In some cases, some groups, malicious groups, receive the name of APT, right? But normally you are going to find APTG, APT groups. If you want to know about groups, malicious groups that execute attacks, you can look for different source, but you can do something like this. APT groups, list groups. List, and we can have the MITRE list, one of the most effective. Let's look for MITRE. And here we have, I'm going to share this link with you. Here we have a list of potential APT groups that execute different attacks. You see, APT groups. So some groups receive a specific name. Some of them receive a specific number as denomination. I'm going to copy this in the chat so you can review that later. So this website is very interesting. The MITRE attack website is very interesting because you can review different groups and you can see what kind of attacks they execute, and sometimes they are associated with other groups. Sometimes you can see the different techniques that they use to attack. In this case, the APT18 use techniques like application layer protocol, web protocols as a vector for attacks, the application layer protocol in DNS or domain name system protocol to execute or to use that protocol as communication platform, as you can see. C2 communication. C2 means command and control. Normally, C2 is the military definition of command and control. Remember when we talk about bots? A bot, it's an agent, normally, that can be controlled by a command and control. So this group use HTTP and DNS protocols as communication channel from their control systems against their the bots or the machines they infect. And so on, so on, so on. So you can see different techniques. And one of the most beautiful things in this website is that you can go a little deeply in each one of these attacks. So you can go to the application layer web protocol. So you can see how they use the web protocol. So here we have a lot. We have the definition, how they use the communication. And then here we have some of the procedures for some specific APTs in the world that use this kind of protocols to communicate or to execute any kind of attack. So APT groups. So we were talking about APTs. Viruses and worms, another kind of threat. Normally viruses and worms are malicious software, malware. It's not the same. A virus or a worm is not the same. A virus normally needs to infect another file to execute the malicious part. A worm normally can take advantage of the network or the networking protocols inside a network and can travel across the network and trying to infect more machines, etc. But there are vectors as well. Ransomware, very common right now. Ransomware is a specific type of malware that normally encrypts your information and then asks for a ransom right? There is a lot like Lockbit, like WannaCry. There is a lot of different ransomware right now. Mobile threats, normally threats against mobile devices like tablets or cell phones, etc., right? So mobile devices are very, very prone to receive different attacks because, you know, everybody uses a mobile device, right? It can be a tablet, can be anything. Well, perfect. Botnet, it's the network of bot or the specific group of botnet of bot, right? So it's a network of compromised computers that a malicious actors can control normally. Normally, that kind of botnets can be used to attack in an illegal way, of course, any kind of target. Let me show you something. Normally, if you look in internet for botnets, you are not going to find a lot of information. You need to use the proper word to look for that kind of tools, let's say. So you can look for booter. You can look for stressors as well, can be. But look, booters. So you can see different services that disguise themselves as legal services. Sometimes they say we are an stressing network, or we provide load tests against a website, but it's not real. Normally these kind of services, a lot of them are illegal. Let me show you. Let's see one of these. Let's see this one. This stressed.co. This is a website that you can see, stress networks, booter, network stressor, and you can see the different package that they offer. You see? They offer the bronze monthly, so one concurrent attack. They don't put the word attack, but this kind of websites offers attacks, deny of service attacks. To be honest, distributed deny of service attacks, DDoS. So they offer for $35 one concurrent attack, 1,200 seconds boot time. That means 1,200 seconds attack time, 700 gigabits per second, etc., etc., etc. And you have more plans. And this is not the only one, as you can see. They offer, let's see, another one, maybe. Let's look for another one. They offer different services. Well, let's look for stressors. So you are going to see different services that they are offering different type of attacks for websites. Normally, the most of them tries to sell the image that they are real services. Some of them are real services, but remember, normally if you are going to use this kind of tools, you need permission from the owner of the infrastructure that you are going to test. If you don't have permission, you are making an illegal attack. This is a crime, and you are going to be in jail. So you need to be very careful with this kind of tools. Some of them are real tools that you can use. Some of them are malicious tools or malicious websites that they just offer a deny of service on demand attack. Well, an insider attack. Insiders normally are people inside a company, that's why the name, that can have bad feelings about the company. Normally they want to harm the company, they want to do something nefarious against the company. That's an insider, a person inside the company. And it's one of the most dangerous things that can happen in a company. Phishing. Phishing is normally the composition of a malicious email and a malicious website. So normally the nefarious actors send you a fake email, and if the person open this email and maybe click in a link or download a malicious file as an attachment in this email, normally can be infected. So phishing normally is related with fish normally, But in our cybersecurity world, is related with the malicious emails and normally connected with malicious websites, fake emails. Web application threats. Well, this is very clear. Normally, the web applications are target of a lot of attacks. And normally, a website should be secure, should be at least hardened. It's almost impossible to say that something is totally secure. It's impossible. Nobody can say that. Nobody can guarantee that a website or an application or operating system is totally safe. It's not possible. Even huge companies like Microsoft, Apple, etc., Oracle, huge companies that invest so much money trying to protect their products have vulnerabilities, right? And it's not their fault. Normally, code is created by people, and sometimes there are mistakes, and that kind of mistakes or omissions can be used as a vulnerability. So, normally there is a lot of threats, and malicious actors can take advantage of them. IoT threats. IoT means Internet of Things, right? So we are talking about cameras, we are talking about TVs, smart TVs, smartwatch, anything with an IP, right? And you know, there is a lot of things with IP addresses that can be vulnerable due to a specific mistake in their operating system, etc. Only if few years ago, we have the possibility to protect, or there are norms or rules to create safer IoT devices. Normally, IoT devices, the old IoT devices, are not safe at all. Let me show you. Let me show you. There is an ETSI norm that implements security this one. This one. I'm going to share this link with you. So this standard for cybersecurity for Internet of Things just was released in 2020. You see? Only 2 years ago. And this is related with the cybersecurity of Internet of Things, right? So this is a very interesting document I'm going to share with you in the chat. And it's related about what the security things, or what security parameters should be used in IoT. Like here you have the most important part, no universal default passwords. Normally a lot of devices have default passwords. That's why using tools like Shodan, let me show you, a malicious actor can find a non-protected camera. Let me show you, let's see. Shodan is like a search engine like Google, but for hardware. So in Shodan, you can try to do a lot of different things. Like, well, you can look for camera. So there are a lot of different cameras, and you can use the explore part here, looking for specific devices. In the explore option, you can look for different hardware, right? So if you are looking for cameras or webcams, etc., you are going to find a lot. Look, so there are a lot of people looking for webcams, etc., and in some cases they are going to find a lot of them. So if I click here, I'm going to find different cameras in different countries, and look, let's see one of these. I'm not going deeply because if they ask for authorization, it's illegal if I try to put a username or a password there. I can go until the web portal. Look, This can be a camera, and normally it's going to ask about a username and a password. Until this part, it's legal, no problem. I did nothing wrong because this is a public IP, and well, I can reach with no problems. But if I put a username and a password here, that's a crime. So you need to be very careful. And later I'm going to explain the only one difference between a malicious actor and an ethical hacker. But well, as you can see, there are a lot of different cameras in the world, and even so there are websites like insecam.org that allows you to see cameras in different countries. Let's see one country in the world. Let me allow the scripts. And let's see in Russia. So this website shows cameras that are not protected in different countries. Like let's see in the Russian Federation. And they are normally real time. Look, cameras and protected cameras that you can see. And in some cases, we can see the people passing or crossing, etc. Look, cameras that you can see the feed of the camera, and they are not protected. Maybe some of them have weaknesses, etc. Weaknesses, yeah, they can have weakness, or they can have any kind of weak password, etc. So you can see here a lot of different cameras in this website. So well, no movement in there, but well, cameras, feed from cameras in the world. So it's very common to have this kind of problem just because IoT is not safe, or well, IoT before 2020 do not have any kind of protocol to protect the security of IoT. So if you have an old smart TV, old camera, etc., well, maybe you have a vulnerability and you need to review it. So here you have the parameters like implement means to manage reports of vulnerabilities, keep software updated, secure store sensitive security parameters, etc., etc., etc. Some parameters that should be used to protect IoT. But as you see, only from 2 years ago. Well, let's see. There are a lot of different threats, like threats in the network. We are going in another live stream. We are going to show more things. I'm going to show you exploitation. I'm going to show you different things, but depending about what you need to learn or what you need to understand, I can show you different things. But the important part here is to understand that there is a lot of different threats against networks, against hosts, against applications, etc. So there are a lot of attack surface. The proper name of the area that the malicious actors can use to attack a specific target is called attack surface. So there are a lot of different attacks that can be executed in a system, like operating system attacks, or attacks taking advantage of a misconfiguration, an error or a mistake created or committed by IT people or the person that configures a specific technology. We have application level attacks against websites, by instance or by example. So we have here SQL injection, cross-site scripting, buffer overflow, etc. We are going to execute some attacks today. You are going to see. The chain grab code attacks, it's more related with attackers taking advantage of default configurations, right? Sometimes people that is not so proficient or do not have enough knowledge about a specific platform, etc., and implement that platform, normally is going to use default parameters. And that normally opens a door for a malicious actor. That's a chain grab code attack. Information warfare is more related with the cyber war. Normally, there is a lot of countries right now sending different attacks, but when I say countries, I'm talking about people, not exactly state-sponsored hackers. In some cases, we are talking about state-sponsored hackers. But normally, that kind of hackers, the state-sponsored hackers, can try to attack a specific country. There is a lot of history about this. And you have different portals that you can use to see the history about attacks in the world. You can use the digital attack map, one of the nice maps. Let's see. This digital attack map shows you denial of service attacks between different countries. Let's see, maybe it's taking some time to load. Let me open with a different browser. So maybe it's loading, but it's taking time. So let me show you another browser. Maybe it's going to be faster. Let's see. Oh, okay, it's loaded now. So you can see attacks. Normally, well, this is from May 16, 2021. As you can see, different countries, people in different countries send attacks against other countries, as you can see. And one of the interesting things here is that you have a history about different attacks against different countries, different targets, etc. And you can understand what type of attacks are there. This website is related with denial of service, only denial of service. But you have other maps like the Kaspersky map, that shows malware behavior. So the Kaspersky Cyber Threat Real-Time Map talks about the type of malware in the world that it's detected by the Kaspersky platforms. So you can see all in the globe, look, what kind of attacks or what kind of malware it's right now. So you have the different attacks here. So you have on-access scan, or on-demand scan, or mail antivirus, all the sources of this information. So you can see the world is crazy right now. A lot of malware and different attacks in the world. So you can take a look about this map. I'm going to copy this link for you if you want to take a look of that kind of maps. But there is a lot of maps, and normally the most important vendors of cybersecurity technologies and mechanisms have their own maps, like Checkpoint, Palo Alto, etc. The most of them have their own maps, and you can look for them because it's interesting. It's very interesting to take a look about what kind of attacks are right now the most common in the world, right? So that's the digital attack map. Well, so normally countries can work in a defensive way or in an offensive way. In defensive way, a country can implement prevention mechanisms or deterrence. So they shows that it's so hard to compromise their systems that the malicious actors maybe don't even try to do it. Generate early alerts or have nice detection mechanisms or be prepared for emergencies, etc. And in the offensive part, if a country wants to attack another one, well, normally they try to detect vulnerabilities to execute web application attacks or send a malware, a very, very infectious malware against a country. We saw that in the past, right? Some people say that WannaCry some years ago was like a test, right? So in some cases, we can see different attacks, and sometimes there are countries against countries. In the most of the cases are just malicious actors. Well, what is hacking? Hacking is related to exploit vulnerabilities in a system and compromise that system, compromise the controls, compromise the security in that system. Normally involves to modify the system, alter the system, tamper with the system parameters to achieve a specific goal. Okay? So hacking can be used to steal, pilfer, redistribute intellectual property, and normally hacking have a bad result or very, very adversary or adversarial result for the victim. So, well, that's hacking. So we need to understand who is a hacker, because the word hacker or the term hacker, it's normally some people when hear the word hacker feels like the hacker is a malicious actor, and no, that's a mistake. And hacking is not a crime if you do this in an ethical way. You, of course, if you execute the techniques, the attacks, etc., without permission, of course, it's going to be illegal and it's going to be a problem, of course, right? But hacking is not a crime. It's very important that we understand that. Hacking is not a crime. So, who is a hacker? Normally a very intelligent person with excellent computing skills, with the capability to create solutions, create tools in some cases, or to use tools created by other people in a very creative way. Normally, the word hacker is associated with a person that finds a not common solution for a problem. That's a hacker, right? So that's good. It's a good thing that you can solve a problem. So for some hackers, hacking is a hobby. A lot of us start hacking or start in the hacking world as a hobby, just to learn, right? That's what a lot of us did. And normally the intention can be just gain knowledge or poke around. That's it, nothing malicious. But for some people, they start in a malicious way. Well, there are different classes of hackers. There is a lot, like black hats. This is the bad guy. Some people call these guys crackers. This is the malicious guy. The guy that commit crimes, the guy that wants to steal the information, the guy that don't care to damage something. It's a cracker. Let me show you. Cracker, it's another definition for a malicious guy, not the cookie. Not the cookie. Okay. Well, there are some sites. Look, difference between hackers and crackers. Hacker versus cracker, blah, blah, blah. So normally black hats are bad people, bad persons that, well, not bad persons, people that use the knowledge in a bad way, in an illegal way normally. Well, white hats are normally people like me that use the same knowledge, the same techniques that the malicious actors does to try to detect vulnerabilities in a specific infrastructure. Okay, that's a white hat. So one important thing is to understand the difference between a malicious actor, a black hat, and a white hat. The difference is only that a white hat has the permission of the owner of the infrastructure to execute the tests. The black hat do not have the permission to do any kind of attack against a specific infrastructure. That's the main difference. But the tools, techniques, etc. are the same. Gray hats, normally they can work in an offensive or defensive way, depending the need. And sometimes you need to do specific things to protect a specific infrastructure. So that's a gray hat. Suicide hackers are guys that do not care to be in jail following a specific cause, right? They want to achieve a specific goal. They don't care to be in jail. Script kiddies are unskilled hackers that use tools created by somebody else to compromise a system. Normally, everybody in hacking starts as a script kiddie. Everybody. And a lot of people, to be honest, the most of the ethical hackers and the hackers in the world use tools created by somebody else. Normally, you can modify the tools and make your own adjustments, or you can create your own. If you create your own, well, you're a hacker, right? But normally, you start as a script kiddie. That's why normally I try to teach Python. I have Python videos, not in English yet. We are translating them, but I think the next Twitch it's going to be related with Python as a language. And I have in my YouTube channel in Spanish some Python videos, and we are translating them to the English channel. Well, cyber terrorists, guys that wants to create terror, wants to create fear in the people using hacking. Like, just think about a city without power or without water, etc. Current course is related to of CEH version 12. Well, we are using some CEH slides, dark trace, and these slides belongs to the CEH version 10, but it's the same. This is the same concept. The conceptual part is the same, and I am borrowing some slides from CEH to explain some concepts. And we are going to use a couple more, and then we are going to be in the practice. Well, state-sponsored hackers are hackers that receive a payment, or they are hired by a country. And the hacktivists are like Greenpeace, but in hacking, you know? Guys with a specific message and a specific mentality or mindset, and they hack with that mindset. Some groups, hacktivist groups, like Anonymous is one of them, LulzSec, another group. You can look for them in Twitter. They normally publish what kind of operation they are doing. So you can look for Anonymous Ops, Anonymous Operations, Anonymous Operations, and they have operations, sorry. Look, you can look for Anon Ops, and you can see the different operations that they are working. Sometimes if a government do something bad, they create a specific operation. So you have their Twitter, and they talk about what they are doing in a specific moment, right? Sometimes they attack governments. When a government, it's an oppressive government, if there is a tyranny or something like that, they can try to attack a specific target in the government. So this is an hacktivist group. There are a lot of hacktivists in the world. An old one was called LulzSec, but sometimes they change their name, etc. But well, they are hacktivists. They have a specific cause and a specific mindset. Well, let's go to the hacking. So hacking normally have phases, normally 5 phases. So the first one is related with passive recon. Well, passive no, with reconnaissance. Normally, reconnaissance is related with to grab information about the target, right? So normally you can execute this recon in an active or passive way. In passive way, that means that you are going to look for the target information without interaction with the target. I mean, you can look for news, or you can look for internet information, you can look for documents that belongs to control entities or control agencies, etc., but you do not interact directly with the target. That's passive recon. Active recon means that you are going to look for information about the target, but with interaction. So you can go to visit the target facilities, or you can call the target people, or you can interact with the website, with the website of the target, etc. So that's active recon. That's the difference between both of them. You can use a lot of different tools to do that. One of the tools can be Shodan, or let me show you an example, like the Netcraft site report. So let's say, well, let me show you Netcraft site report. I'm going to share this link with you. This tool allows me to try to graph information about a specific target. So you can put the target URL here, and Netgraph is going to show you information about that target. So we can say here https://secpro.llc. So it's going to show information about SecPro. So we don't have risk, it's a real website. Let me allow the scripts here, so we are going to have more information. Okay, good. So the website is protected under Cloudflare, and the name server we are using is Gerald, and well, the IP address of the website is this one, and well, more information. The IPv6 of our website is this one, etc. And here we can see the range, the IP range that we are using, etc. The SSL information, TLS information, etc. So this is useful for an attacker to know, well, how to attack my website. So normally, well, the IP address is this one. Of course, this IP address belongs to our protections technologies. It's not the real IP address of my website, but well, this IP allow to the malicious actors to have at least one clue about my website. Other way to find information is to use technologies or tools like Whois. Let me show you. You can use tools. We are going to use penetration testing or ethical hacking distribution, Linux flavor, that is called Kali. Kali, it's a beautiful distro that you can download for free. And one of the most interesting things about ethical hacking, penetration testing, etc., that is that the tools can be downloaded for free in any moment, right? So there is a lot of different tools. So let me show you. You can look for the Kali. Let me open another. Kali distro. You can download it as a virtual machine or as you wish. You can go to download. Let me close this here. I don't want that. So I'm going to copy this link for you. You can download. Hi, Spawn. So you can download your Kali machine, and you can download a virtual machine. I have a video in my YouTube channel related with how to use Linode. Linode is a cloud platform provider, and you can install your Kali machine in Linode. If you don't want to use virtualization in your own environment, you can download any version. So normally, Kali is the Linux distro that I use to do ethical hacking, penetration testing, etc. So this is the one. Maybe you can let me know if it can be interesting for you to have a Twitch stream, talking about how to create your own lab, right? So just let me know. To be honest, I hope more people in this session, but well, it's okay. It's okay. In some moment you were more people, but well, it's weird, right? Normally people say, I want mentoring, I want to learn, I want to understand more things, but well, I'm here, and well, we have so few people, but with the few people we have, I'm going to answer any question you have, and I'm going to show you anything you want to see. So Kali. Kali is a beautiful distro. I'm going to open the terminal here. And we can use different tools like the Whois tool. Whois is a command that allows you to graph information about the domain that you want to query. So you can do this like Whois, I don't know, Motorola.com, and you are going to receive information about the Motorola domain. Normally with the GDPR norms and rules, you are going to have a small amount of information like, okay, how or who is the registrar of this URL, this Smart Monitor, when was updated, the creation date 1994, updated in 2021, etc., etc., etc. Right? So you have some information here about Motorola. We can graph DNS information about Motorola or about SecPro. You can say dig, and you can query DNS registers or DNS records about a specific domain. So let's say that you want to know which one is the mail server for a specific domain, our mail server. So you can say dig mx, means mail exchanger, and the domain, in this case secpro.llc. So you are going to see that our mail server is Soho, right? If you want to see, okay, which provider SecPro is using for the website, okay, you can query another DNS registry. So you can say dig a secpro.llc. So you are going to see the IP addresses that we are using, right? So we have different ways to found information. If you are not so familiar with the DNS register, well, thank you so much, Span. Thank you so much. And let me show you. You can look for, in the previous session I had, it's in the YouTube channel, I explained the DNS records. Just in case, I'm going to show you a link that you can take a look, and you are going to understand better the DNS records. DNS records are so useful. DNS records. In Wikipedia, you can take a look. List of DNS record types. So you can query each one of them looking for information about a domain. You see? So I'm going to copy this for you. I'm going to share this one. And if you want to go deeply about this, I explain in detail in this class that I had 15 days ago in the first mentoring session we had. You can just need to say YouTube SecPro LLC. Well, sorry, I wrote in the chat. YouTube SecPro LLC. And let's see. Maybe it's this one, I hope. Let's see. Yeah, this one. I'm going to share this link with you. So the video of the first mentoring session was this one, Cybersecurity for Everyone, session 1. So in this video, we talk about OC model and TCP/IP protocol, etc. And I explain DNS records here. I explain DNS record here. So if you want to take a look, it will be perfect for you if you need to go deeply about the DNS registers. But now I'm going to show you one more that normally is very useful to understand a little bit the technologies of the target. So you can look for the TXT register. So you can say dig TXT and the domain secpro.llc. I'm going to execute everything against my website because I can provide permission. So, well, you can see some of the TXT information in my website. So we can see different things. We have the Ahref site verification. So my website is verified by Ahrefs. And we have a TXT record that means that maybe I can't deny, or I can say yes about that we are using Outlook or Exchange in my website, in my company, etc. So we can see some additional information here. So this is Recon. We are grabbing information about a website. And when you are doing this, normally the recommendation is to use a tool that allows you to maintain a record about what you are found or what you found. You can use different tools to do that. One of my favorite take notes tool, it's called Cherry Tree. This one, Cherry Tree. It's a beautiful tool that allows you to take notes. So you can create a new instance here, and you can create a node called SecPro LLC, let's say, and then about this node you can create a subnode related with DNS records, let's say, and well, let me rename this one because I can let me look for the rename option. Well, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to create it again. It's weird. It's weird. I need to update this one. But well, I'm going to create a new subnode that is called DNS records, and here I can put the result of the commands we are doing here, right? So the txt result. So I can copy all of these, right? And I can create a subnode here. I can copy this and go to the cherry tree, and inside DNS records I can add a subnode called txt. Let's say txt. Thank you for the follow, Wilwu. So txt, and I can paste the result of the txt record, and I can create all of the different records like the mx. So I can add a subnode here, mx, and inside the mx I can put or copy the result of the mx query, right? So I can put the answer section here. So I can copy and paste in the cherry tree. So in cherry tree you can have the entire information of an engagement in a very easy way. So you can separate everything and you can have your nodes in a very good way. One even more advanced tool that I totally recommend for you, my penetration testers use this tool. It's called Obsidian. It's amazing, Obsidian. I use that as well, but normally I use Obsidian as an markdown editor, etc. So this is crazy good. It's called a second brain, and maybe in some moment there is so many information I can share with you, but I don't know what you prefer to see. So, well, Obsidian, I'm going to copy this for you. Obsidian, it's an amazing tool that allows you to create that kind of graphs, and you can create mind maps, and you can create relations, you can put links, etc. And everything is using Markdown language. So it's amazing. It's really, really amazing, Obsidian. I recommend this tool for you. But, well, let's continue with the next phase, because I want to finish today with the 5 phases in the ethical hack, well, in hacking. You already know the difference between ethical hacking and hacking, so I'm going to show you demonstrations for each one of them. So, well, that's recon, right? That's recon, and we can have sessions to talk about a specific part of each one of them, because I can spend an entire day talking about recon. I can spend days talking about port scanning. This is the second phase, scanning. In this phase, normally you try to detect open ports in the target, right? And you maybe are wondering, okay, why open ports? Let me see your questions. What do you think of the links tool? Have you ever used it? No, Spawn, I never use that tool. Can be useful. Normally I use OneNote. It's nice for me. I use mind maps, like the mind mapper, or the tool I use normally, it's called Xmind. I use Xmind. It's nice for me, and I use Obsidian and cherry tree. It depends about what I need. If I need to prepare my slides for a conference, normally I can use OneNote. If it's an engagement, or I need to remember a lot of materials, I use Obsidian. If it's a very fast engagement for me, I use cherry tree. But I'm going to take a look about the links. If you want, share with me the link of links, and I can take a look. Thank you. So, well, port scanning. Port scanning allows me to know the services listening in the target. Because normally, if you review my video about TCP/IP, the video I just showed you in the YouTube channel, you are going to understand that each one of these services have an open port listening. Let me explain. Here we have a machine that is called, I'm going to close this cherry tree right now, or no, I'm going to maintain that open. I'm going to show you, I have here a machine called Metasploitable. This is a virtual machine with a lot of vulnerabilities that you can use to practice. That's the beautiful part of Metasploitable. You can download Metasploitable for free. And let me see if hi, hi Jonathan, how you doing? I can look for the Metasploitable. If you can't find a place to download the Metasploitable, I can share for you in one of my repositories. But well, Metasploitable to download. Normally in the training sessions we are going to have, I'm going to use virtual machines to attack them because, well, two different reasons. One of them, they are great to practice, and second reason, it's legal to attack that kind of machines. So look, in Bonhof you have the Metasploitable too. So you can download this virtual machine from Bonhof. It's old. Maybe some of you are going to say me, this is old. Yes, old do not means useless. No. You need to start with baby steps, and then you learn to walk, and then you learn to run. You need to understand some specific things that can be very, very clear for you in this kind of machines. Then, in other session, we are going to start with capture the flags, and we are going to solve them in real time. Machines from TryHackMe or machines from Hack the Box. I have solutions for Hack the Box machine in my Spanish YouTube channel. You can mute me and you can follow what I'm doing. But Metasploitable, it's a nice tool to learn the baby steps first. So I'm going to share this with you. Okay. Spawn. No, I use a mask. I use DNS map, I use spheres, I use some scripts. Interesting, I'm going to take a look. Well, Metasploitable. So here we have the Metasploitable machine. Sorry, it's a Linux machine. And one of the things you need to learn when you are in an engagement is to detect open ports in a machine, and you need to detect turned on machines, right? You need to detect live machines. So let's start with the live machines detection. So if I am located in a network and I need to detect what kind of live machines are in the same network that I'm located, well, it's very easy. I can use a tool like Nmap. I explained a little bit about this in the session that is recorded in YouTube. So Nmap is an amazing tool that allows you to detect open ports, service versions, and a lot of things, even vulnerabilities. You can detect vulnerabilities with Nmap. It's amazing. So let me start with an SN. And I need to provide the network range I'm going to scan to try to detect live machines. So I'm going to use the same network that we are using. So I'm going to start with another command. I can split this horizontally, and I'm going to put this bigger. I'm going to say ifconfig to see my IP address. Okay, my IP address in my Kali machine is this one. So the most probable thing is that in the network we are going to use the same range, right? The three first numbers are going to be the same in the network. So I'm going to say here nmap-sn 172.16.45.0/24. What that means? That means that Nmap is going to look in this entire range from the machine starting in 172.16.45 1 until the machine with the IP address 172.16.45 254. Okay, that's it's what this means. Okay, 24 means this subnet we are going to use. That means 255.255.255.0, a C subnet. There are different subnets. That's why it's important that you understand networks too if you want to start in ethical hacking. So I'm going to execute this, and in the meantime I'm going to explain the option SN. What that means, SN? Well, when you execute Nmap, normally, let me exit of this one. Normally, Nmap, it's a tool that allows you to do scanning, right? So, normally, if you want to execute a scan in Nmap, normally it's going to start with a lowercase s. That way, I'm going to say -s. With this small part, -s, I'm saying to Nmap that we are going to do a scan. And the N part means that we are going to try to detect live machines. If you want to see the help of a tool, normally you can use --help. Let me show you. Let's use a new tab here, and we are going to execute Nmap --help. And you're going to see the entire help of the Nmap command. And you are going to see everything about that command, like SL is a list scan, SN is a ping scan. So we are going to try, with the ping command, try to detect the live machines in the network we are located. So we did that. So you can see that there are some machines like the 2.2.163.165. 3 host app. We are working in a virtual environment. So in a virtual environment, this .2 is created by the virtual technology. So that is not a real machine. This is a gateway created by the virtual environment. So that's not a machine. The Metasploitable machine have this IP address. And my Kali machine is this one. And maybe you are going to ask me, okay, how do you know that this one is the Metasploitable and this one is your Kali? Easy, very easy. Nmap results is going to provide your IP as the last one. The last result is you. Let me show you. If I execute ifconfig here, ifconfig, look, my IP address is the 163. And let me see the Nmap result. I closed the other one. Sorry, I'm going to execute that way again. Nmap-sn. Sorry, and the 172.16.45.0/24. Okay, so it's showing in order right now because my IP address is the 163, to be honest. Normally Nmap, the previous versions, it's interesting, the previous versions shows your IP as the last one, but in this case it's showing in order. Well, interesting. So my Kali machine IP is this one and the Metasploitable IP is this one, right? 172.16.45.165. If you want to validate that, you can go here and you can say ifconfig, and well, that's my IP address in the Metasploitable. Good. So now that we know the IP address of the Metasploitable machine, we can detect the open ports in that machine. In the video of this session that we have 15 days ago, I explained different port scans. I'm not going to be deeply right now in that. I'm going to show you one port scan that allows me to know the versions of each one of these services in that machine, the victim machine. So I'm going to say nmap-sv and the IP address of the Metasploitable. So we're going to see each one of these services turned on listening in the victim machine. Let's see. Let's wait for the result. Perfect. Look, we have a lot of different services running in the Metasploitable waiting for connection. Even the web service, look, Apache in the port 80, TCP. If you need to understand UDP or TCP, go to that video. I explained that in deeply. 21, FTP service, 22, OpenSSH, etc. So we have a lot of different services. That's a port scanning. The port scan allows you to detect services listening in the victim machine. You can see a lot of different ports, a lot of them in the Metasploitable. Perfect. So that's a port scan. There is a lot of different port scanning technologies or techniques. We can have a session only talking about port scanning. With port scanning you can extract information like system uptime, port, status, operating system details. You can use a specific command to detect operating system. Look, even here you have the operating system. It's saying it's a Linux operating system. And we have in Nmap the possibility to query which operating system. So you can use capital O and the IP address to try to detect the operating system in the target. It says that requires root privilege, so I need to execute this command with elevation. So I need to say sudo nmap-o blah 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 blah, and I need to provide the Kali password so we can execute that command now with higher privilege. Look, it's a Linux kernel. You see, it's a Linux kernel, and this scan allows us to see the open ports. But if you see the difference, here we don't have the versions of each one of them. Look, here we have the version of the Apache JServe, blah, blah, blah. Here you just see the open port, but not the version. You see? Open port, but not the version. You see the difference in the results. Well, now we can go to the gain access phase. Here, normally you attack the target in different ways. You can attack against a password, so you can try to do brute forcing or dictionary attacks against a password. Or you can try to use a buffer overflow attacks with an exploit. You can have different attacks here, and you can try to escalate privilege to obtain complete control of the system. Because in some cases, with some attacks, you can grab access, but not necessarily you can have privilege to execute commands like we did a moment ago. Let me show you. It's going to be more clear for you in a moment. So let's execute a specific attack against the Metasploitable. Metasploitable, remember, is this machine. We have this machine here. I'm going to reduce a little bit the size of that machine, and we have our Kali machine. So we know with the results of the Nmap that there are some services listening. One of them can be the Apache Tomcat, listening in the port 8180. Let's validate that this service is really listening in the Metasploitable. So I'm going to open the Firefox in my Kali. I'm going to open the Firefox, and I'm going to start a new session, and I'm going to say the IP address of the Metasploitable and the port used by the Apache Tomcat that the Nmap says that is the 8180. So we're going to say colon 8180. And yeah, Apache Tomcat, it's running in the Metasploitable machine, right? So we can see that the Tomcat have an administration portal. Let's see, administration portal, Let's see if we can reach that administration portal. It's taking a moment. And there is a Tomcat Manager as well. I'm going to open a new tab. Look, it's asking for a username and a password, and I don't have them. We don't know it. So we can try to execute an attack to force our login in that machine. Let's start with that. Let's start with an attack against that Tomcat service. So to execute an attack, we have a lot of different tools at our service. Let's use a beautiful tool called Metasploitable. Okay, so let's open a new tab here, and let's use the Metasploit tool. To load the Metasploit tool in your Kali, you need to say MSF console. MSF console. This tool, the Metasploit, it's a framework. What that means? It's an entire group or a compilation of tools. That's why it's a framework. So the Metasploit have a lot of exploits, as you can see, a lot of exploits, a lot of auxiliary tools, some post-exploitation tools, payloads, encoders, non-operational tools, and evasion techniques. Evasion are used when you want to bypass firewalls or you want to bypass security mechanisms like an IDS, IPS, etc. Payloads are used in conjunction with an exploit. We are going to see that. Dark Trace, you are going to load this video on your YouTube channel? Yes, Dark Trace, but I think not entire video, because I want the people to be here in the sessions. So I'm going to load the video. I don't know if the entire video, maybe some parts of this session. I'm recording everything, but I want the people try to be here, try to be in the sessions, because in live you can ask me some things, I can answer questions, and we are going to have like half hour to answer questions. So the short answer, yes, but maybe not the entire video. Well, yeah, totally agree. So, well, Metasploit allows you to use a lot of different tools. As you remember, Nmap shows that the Tomcat Manager, it's open, and well, we saw that the Tomcat Manager, it's open and is ready to be used if we have the username and password. So let's try with a password attack, a dictionary attack against that service. So Metasploit can be used in this way. You can search for different tools, like this way. Search Tomcat. Let's search Tomcat. So it's going to show you all the Tomcat tools that you can use in this framework. So let's see what we have. We have one of the tools. Look, you have the Manager Deploy. I want one tool that is called Tomcat Manager Login. Let's see. It's an auxiliary, not an exploit. It's an auxiliary. Let me look for it. Tomcat. Let me see Tomcat. Look, this one, the 25. The Tomcat Manager Login. Auxiliary, it's an auxiliary, not an exploit. It's an auxiliary tool. So how to use a tool inside this framework? Okay, I'm going to copy this selection, and I need to tell the tool that we want to use that tool. So I'm just going to say use and paste the entire path to that tool. So if I hit enter, you see the prompt change to auxiliary scanner HTTP Tomcat Manager Login. You see? Perfect. So now I'm going to select the options that we need to configure to use this tool. So I'm going to say options. In some books you are going to see that they say show options. It's the same, don't worry. You can say options or show options. So with options you can see the different parameters you need to configure, and you can see if they are required or not. So let's work with the required parameters, and you can see the current setting for each one of the parameters. So the brute force speed is 5, it's okay. From 0 to 5, 5 is fast. And what else is required? The rhost. Rhost is the target. So we need to configure the target. Perfect. So how to configure a target? Very simple. You need to say set rhosts. You don't need to put this in uppercase. Don't worry. You can use lowercase. Set rhost, and you need to put the IP address of the target, the metasploitable. So the IP address of the metasploitable. Perfect. Now what else is it's required? Okay, the remote port. You know, the port used by the service, by the Tomcat service. If you remember, it's not the 8080. If we take a look of the Nmap results, is the 8180. So we need to change that. So we need to say set remote port 8180, right? Enter. Perfect. Now let's see what else is required. Remote port, the target URI, it's already provided, it's already configured, manager HTML, and let's see if we need to change something. No, I'm not going to change that. I'm going to leave that URI. And the threads, one thread, so we are not going to overload the password each CPU, sorry. And here you have the dictionary. Look, user pass file. Here you are going to use a specific file containing user and passwords separated by a space. So in this path you are going to have a dictionary. If you want to see what is inside, well, you can take a look in user share metasploit framework data word list Tomcat manager default user password. It's a txt file, as you can see, right? So you can take a look. Let me open a new tab here. If you want to see what is inside, you can travel to that path. User share metasploit framework data. Look, you can say cat slash user share metasploit user share metasploit framework. Metasploit framework. The other part is metasploit framework data word lists. So data word lists, and look, there is a lot of word lists there. So the word list we want to take a look is word list Tomcat manager default. So Tomcat manager default underscore, let's see the one we want to take a look, it's manager default user pass.txt. So user pass.txt. So that's the path. So we can take a look, we can put a pipe here, less, to review it, and look. Here are the combinations, admin and password, admin on and nothing, admin and password 1. So you have the username and the potential password, separated by spaces, you see? Admin and password 1, lowercase, and so on, so on, so on. So we can see the entire file there. Very simple, very easy. So we already have that selected, and we have the user file here. It's user.txt, another dictionary that can be used. Okay. I have people put set el host to 0. Very interesting, Spawn. Normally that means that you are using a VPN. Normally. Normally it's common, Spawn, if you are using a VPN. Normally, if you are using a VPN to connect against the target, normally you create a tunnel. That's why the tune 0. You see? Very good one. Very good one. Thank you for that thing. Okay, so we can execute this attack now because everything is configured. If you want to see everything that you already configured, you just need to say options again, and you can see everything: the IP address, look, the remote host, it's configured already, the port, etc. So what we need to do? Exploit, generate the attack. So we're going to say, one parameter that I like to configure here is to stop on success. You see? So if he founds the password and the username should stop. So I'm going to say set stop on success true, because normally it's false. Look, stop on success is false. I'm going to say set stop on success true. Perfect. Now I can say exploit, enter, and look, start all the combinations against that website. Let's see if he founds the proper combination. It's trying and trying and trying and trying. Look, it's working against the website. Let's give it a moment. So we are going to see if this tool can found the proper username and password. I'm going to leave this running. Now I can configure better the machine, but maybe this one collapsed. I don't think so. No, it's okay. It's okay. But let's continue just in case. I'm going to leave this running. Let me see if, okay, login fail, login fail, login fail, login fail. It's interesting. Normally it's very, very fast, but well, this is a dictionary attack against that machine. Well, so this is one of the attacks. We can try, or we can see the next phase, that is maintain access. That allows you to come back as many times you want to the target. And you can use a backdoor, a Trojan, a rootkit to do that. Right? So you can create a new user, you can steal the system passwords, etc. So let's see what we can do. Let me see if we already finished this one. No, it's not yet. It's weird because normally if we have issues, let me see, I'm going to restart the other machine because it's weird that this one didn't found the proper username and password. Can happen if you don't have the proper name, the proper username and password. It's possible that remains in that way, or just say I didn't found the password. Can happen. It's common, but normally the password and the username is very simple, so it should work, to be honest. The IP address is okay, and the port 8180. Yeah, I'm going to finish this attack, and I'm going to restart the Metasploitable just in case. I'm going to restart the Metasploitable. I'm going to turn it off and turn it on. Guys and girls, if you want to ask me questions right now, in a moment, we're going to start with the Ask Me Anything. But you can start now while I turn on the Metasploitable again. So just let me know if you have any question you want me to answer. Please write it, and I will be very happy to answer your questions if you have any question about the hacking phases, or well, anything you want to ask. Go ahead, I'm here. So okay, Metasploitable, it's turning on again. Okay, perfect. Just okay, no problem, Dark Race, my pleasure. You know, guys, girls, I love to teach, and I love to share knowledge, at least the small amount of knowledge I can have. So I love it, and I'm very happy that you're here. I'm very happy that you're here. So let's see if the Metasploitable is turned on. Okay, yeah, it's turned on. Let's see. Let's start the attack again. If we have an issue, I'm going to restart my Kali machine because, oh, nice, perfect. Look, login successful. Tomcat, Tomcat. That's the proper username and the password, Tomcat, Tomcat. If we try directly against that machine, let me show you. Tomcat, Tomcat. Let's see. I'm going to try with the Tomcat manager. I'm going to write here Tomcat, lowercase, Tomcat as password. Perfect. We are here. We are in. But, well, maybe you're going to ask, okay, but now what, right? Okay, we already have the username and the password, so what can we do now? Well, we can do a lot of different things. We can use an exploit to grab access to that machine, grab control, or at least can compromise the machine in a better way with that username and that password that we already found. So I'm going to close this website and we are going to use an exploit now. We are going to search that exploit. I'm going to say Tomcat again, search Tomcat, but we are going to use an exploit that is called deploy, the Tomcat manager deploy. It's an exploit. Let's see. Tomcat enum, Tomcat DOS, Tomcat gather, manager login, enumeration. Let me look for the exploit name. I have it in one of my notes. Let me see if no, I can look for the login specifically. Let me look for that one. It's like Tomcat manager. Let's see. Tomcat manager. Let's see. Perfect. That one. Look, the 001. Exploit multi HTTP Tomcat manager deploy. Perfect. I'm going to copy this selection and we are going to use an exploit now. Previously we used an auxiliary. Now we are going to use an exploit. So I'm going to say use and the Tomcat manager deploy. Perfect. So as you see, the prompt changed from the auxiliary scanner to an exploit now. Let's see the options. We need to configure some things here. But let me see, there is a question here. How is the best way to see what ports I have open on my attacking machine? In your victim or in your attacking? Well, Nmap. In any case, Nmap. In the previous session that is recorded in the YouTube channel, you are going to find some documents that I put in my GitHub, I think, or the links are there, so you can download an Nmap guide, etc. And if you want mentoring about the Nmap tool, I can do it. This class, thank you so much. That's great, Spong, thank you so much. So, well, guys and girls, look. We need to provide some parameters here, like the rhost. We can use the same that we already have. The remote port, we already know that. Let's configure that part. The remote host, rhosts, and the remote port. Okay, perfect. What else we need to configure? Not required, but we are going to provide the HTTP password and the HTTP username because we know them, right? So I'm going to say set HTTP password. Let me copy this and we are going to put that here. Set HTTP password Tomcat and set HTTP username Tomcat. With tab, you can complete, autocomplete. Perfect. Now we are ready to use this exploit. But you remember when I explained exploit, I mentioned that normally an exploit can use a payload. By default, this exploit comes with this one, Java Interpreter Reverse TCP. It's a potential payload that we can use. Meterpreter is one of the most effective and used payloads in the world, Meterpreter. It's beautiful because it allows you to do a lot of things. Let's use this one, and maybe in a more advanced session later, another time, I'm going to show you more payloads. But for today, this is an introduction training. I'm going to use this one. And as you can see, Meterpreter asks for a local host, my Kali machine, and the local port. You can configure anything in the port. You can put the port 10, 20, 40, as you wish. Normally, the recommendation is to use a port over 1024. In the video, in the video in YouTube channel, I explain why. So I'm going to leave that configuration by default. This is my Kali machine. So I'm going to say exploit. So the payload, it's the thing that is going to be executed if the exploit succeeds. Let's see. Perfect, look. This is the exploit execution, send the stage, and the Meterpreter session is open. So we have a Meterpreter now. And you're going to say, well, now what? Very simple. We can say help, and we can see different commands that we can execute here. We can query the process running in that machine. We can do a lot of different things. We can download files. Look, there is a lot of different things we can execute, right? We can run a lot of different things, a lot. Let's start with the process. Let's see the process that are being executed in the remote machine. Well, all of these processes are executed in the remote machine. We have a shell right now, or well, the possibility is to run shell commands from here. We can see different services running in that machine, etc. If I want a shell to execute commands like in the same way I can do it in being in front of the victim machine, I can say shell. Now I have a shell, and I can ask, okay, who we are in that machine, in the victim machine. So I can say, who am I? We are Tomcat 55. It's a very limited user. We don't have a lot of things. But let's try to execute some things like ifconfig. Let's see if I can ask, okay, look, ifconfig, it's okay. I can see that the IP address is 165. Remember, we are executing commands in a remote way in the victim machine, in the same way, but remotely because we hack that machine. We can execute a lot of things. One of the most common things that you are going to try to do is to grab the password file from that machine. So normally Linux have two files related with passwords. One of them is called passwords, passwd, and the other one is called shadow. So we can try to grab them. So I'm going to say cat/etc/passwd. And well, we have access to that file containing the information about the users of that machine. So I'm going to copy this to a file in my Kali machine. Copy. I'm going to create a file in a new tab. I'm going to create a file. I'm going to say here nano, where I'm located. In Kali, okay. I'm going to say nano passwd.txt can be. And I'm going to paste everything here. Perfect. We have the passwd content. And I'm going to say Ctrl X to exit, save, enter. Good. Let's try with the most critical part. The most critical part is the shadow content. This file contains the encrypted passwords. So let's say cat/etc/shadow. Permission denied. We don't have enough privilege to try to grab that file. So we need to execute elevation, we need to do privilege escalation to grab that file. So we can't. Right now, we can't. So let's see what we can do. So I'm going to say Ctrl Z. Here I'm going to put the channel in background. And we can execute another or use another exploit. Let me show you. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to say exit from here. Perfect, I close that interpreter. And we can look for a different exploit. If you remember, when we execute the nmap, trying to detect services, we have a lot of services here, like, well, here we have Samba, we have Bind Shell, we have ProFTPD, we have the Unreal IRCD and VNC. We can try with VNC, it's very interesting. VNC, it's easy to exploit. So we can look for a specific VNC exploit. Let's see. Search VNC. And we have a lot of VNC exploits. A lot of VNC exploits. Let's see with one of them, or we can take a look of the Unreal. If you say search Unreal, let's see. There is a couple of Unreal exploits. Let's try with this one, the Unreal IRCD. Let's try with this one. Let's see if that one allows us to grab inside that machine. I'm going to copy this one, and I'm going to say use, paste the exploit, this exploit. Let's see the options. And we just need to provide our host and remote port. Let's see if they are using the same port, 6667. Let's see. 6667, yeah, IRC. Okay, let's configure the remote host. Perfect. Remote port it's okay, so let's try to exploit with this one. If as you can see, these exploits do not come with the specific payloads. So if you need to know what kind of payloads can be used with that exploit, you can say show payloads. Show payloads. And you are going to receive a list of different potential payloads that you can use with that exploit. In some cases, you don't need to define a specific payload. Let me show you. Let's try with no payload right now. I'm going to say exploit. Let's see what happened. Okay, no payload selected. So we need to select a specific payload. Let's try with CMD Unix generic. Let's try with that one. So I'm going to say set payload, and I'm going to select that one. The payload is going to be command Unix generic. Let's see if we need to configure that payload. So options, and that payload do not require requires a command, yeah. So I'm going to say set cmd, let's say cat/etc/shadow. Let's see, and let's execute exploit. Let's see, it's trying to send the command. I'm not totally sure that this is going to work, okay? Maybe it was going to work, maybe no. It's trying to resolve. Not necessarily. Not necessarily, right? I'm going to say Control-C. I'm going to look for another one. Let me search user map. Let's see, user map. Let's try with this one. This is for Samba. And as you remember, that machine have Samba open. It's Samba, right? It's using Samba. Samba, it's a daemon to SMB, to server message block, to share files and printers, etc. So I'm going to use the user map. Let's see. So the user map, I'm going to copy this exploit. It's very normal that you need to use different exploits. It's common, it's real life. So I'm going to say use that exploit. Okay. By default, it's using the command Unix reverse netcat. It's okay. Let's see options. What options I need to configure in this payload? The remote host, set our host. So I need to configure the remote host. And the remote port, it's okay. And the payload is already configured. I'm going to change the port just in case. the local port. So I'm going to say set al port 4445. Just because in other exploit, in a previous exploit, we use the same port. Okay, I'm going to say exploit, let's see. Let's see. Command shell session, open. Perfect. Let's see, who am I? Root. Now we are root. Now we have high privilege in that machine. So we can say cat /etc/shadow. And now we have access to the encrypted passwords of that machine. So I'm going to copy all of this. Perfect. Copy. And I'm going to create a file with nano, but in this case I'm going to say shadow.txt, and I'm going to paste the content of that file. Control X, yes, enter. Now we can crack the password, the root password. We can crack it. We can do anything we want because we have the shadow file and the passwd file. Now you just need to use a tool that normally is called unshadow. Unshadow is a nice tool that allows you to join both files in one. So we can crack it with a tool like John the Ripper or similar. We can do something like this. You can say unshadow. The password file is passwd. The shadow file is shadow.txt. And we can put a greater than, and I'm going to call this file hash.txt. So the unshadow just joined both files, creating the hash.txt. Let me show you hash.txt. Now we have an entire file with the usernames, and the encrypted passwords. You see? And well, you can crack this file with a tool like John the Ripper. In my YouTube channel, I have a video explaining this. You can use John and the file hash.txt, and John the Ripper, look, immediately crack the passwords. So for the username, the password is user, for Postgres is Postgres, for MSF admin is MSF admin, and so on, so on, so on. So let's try. I'm going to try in the machine, in the victim machine, in Metasploitable. I'm going to try to log in with MSF admin, and as password, I'm going to write MSF admin as well. We log. We are in. That's the proper username and proper password. So as you can see, John the Ripper found the username and password for the machine. It's working right now in a couple of users that it don't have, like the root. We didn't have the root yet. It's attacking right now. It's attacking. If I hit enter, I can see what kind of attack is doing right now. It's using Yugo, blah, 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 blah. And if I hit enter again, it's showing me how it's working. But well, we have access to the computer, etc. So we can hack it, or we already hacked that machine. So well, maintain access. Well, we have the usernames, we have the passwords, we can do anything we want with that machine, right? And the last phase of the hacking, clearing tracks. Normally a malicious actor do this because the malicious actor do not want to be caught. So normally it's trying to delete files that he or she creates. He or she tries to remove any kind of fingerprint that he or she leaves in the hacked machine. So clearing tracks. Remember, hacking comes with 5 phases, and this is the last one. Normally in ethical hacking, you do this to clean your activities, because in hacking, one of the things you do is to leave a file in the compromised machine to demonstrate that you really had access to that machine, right? Was one of the things you do. Or sometimes you use a rootkit, or you use a specific tool in the victim machine. So when you finish your ethical hacking engagement, you need to remove that tool from the victim machine, because a malicious actors can take advantage of the tool you put there, and well, you don't want that, right? So, well, hacking, ethical hacking. So do you have Questions, let's see. Perfect. Thanks for the mentoring. My pleasure, Dark Trace. How is the best way to see what ports I have open? Okay, Nmap. Okay. This class very good. Oh, nice, nice, Pam. Perfect. Soy, I can't wait to download Alberto Machine to follow along. Ah, beautiful, Soy. That's great. Meterpreter is amazing. Totally agree with you. How often are the exploits for Metasploit updated? Very often, Dark Trace. Normally, the difference between the community version that we are using and the paid version is more or less 1 month, more or less. So normally it's very often, and you need to update your Kali machine. It's my recommendation for you is that you update your Kali machine in normally every week or as you wish. You can say sudo apt update and then sudo apt upgrade, both commands. So you are going to keep your Kali up to date. Well, I'm going to be absent. Okay. Okay, nice. Perfect. Perfect, Spawn. I think I'm going to upload this video to the YouTube channel. Guys, girls, do you have any questions? Something you need me to clarify? Something that I didn't explain properly? Ah, you're here. Nice. Nice, nice. My pleasure, Spawn. I just want that you find this useful, and well, let me know what can be a good subject for next mentoring session, because I love to have a mentoring, explaining things, solving questions, etc. So just let me know in my Twitter or in the YouTube channel. The idea is that you let me know what do you need to learn, what do you want to learn, what kind of things you can't find in the books, or that kind of things that nobody wants to teach you, or things that people wants to teach you but maybe are not so clear for you. Just let me know. So questions, guys, girls? Oh, that's great, Dark Trace. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was in Spanish, right? I'm going to try to publish a video, in a couple of videos, two Twitch sessions in Spanish, two Twitch in English. You review the DEF CON? Ah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, the helicopter hacking. Yeah, I love it. I love it. You know, I have more videos from DEF CON interviews that I didn't publish because I didn't have enough time to edit that videos. I want to publish in some moment. Yeah. Threat hunting. Yeah, Dark Trace is amazing. Threat hunting, I love threat hunting. I have, if you speak Spanish, I think you speak Spanish, I have an entire threat hunting training in my Spanish YouTube channel. You can take a look. It's threat hunting. The name in Spanish, well, you can take a look. You can look for threat hunting in my channel. It's threat hunting with Wireshark. And I explain in deeply how to extract samples with Wireshark, how to analyze them, how to detect IOCs, etc. I hope you enjoy. Well, any other question, any other thing you want me to explain? Ask me anything, guys. Perfect, Dark Trace. That's amazing. That's amazing. Nothing? Well, perfect. Oh, that's great, Spam. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that opinion. Yeah, we have a malware analysis course. We have that in English and in Spanish. Yeah, it's one of the things we have in our website. And yeah, normally the malware analysis training, normally I'm the instructor. So, and I love that training because it's so amazing how to dissect a sample and understand what this sample does, etc. I love it. I love malware analysis. Yeah. Well, any question? No? Perfect. Well, guys, girls, thank you so much to be here. Normally, Dark Trace, I'm going to try to do this each Wednesday. In some cases, maybe I can't. So I'm going to modify the schedule, and in my Twitter, I'm going to let everybody knows, okay, the stream is going to be that day or that day, that date. So I'm going to try to inform if there are some change. Yeah. But I'm going to try to do this each week. I'll try. This is the second stream, and well, I'll try. The bad part is we have so few people, so well, maybe it's just starting, but well, I I love if more people is going to be connected because I love to answer questions and make demonstrations, you know. So the more the people, the better. Well, again, thank you so much everyone to be here, and well, I'm going to publish this video in my YouTube channel, I suppose maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. So okay, thank you again for being here, and well, see you guys, see you, take care. My pleasure, my pleasure. I love this format as well, Spawn. I love the interaction. Thank you so much. No problem, that phrase, my pleasure. You know, I love to show things and teach. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful night. See you.